What's up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome for the first time. If you are new here, so excited to have you. This video is so fun. I've been really looking forward to creating this video and creating my favorite fall Starbucks drinks, Starbucks recipes this season at home. Because if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I always prefer to make my coffee at home. I love the experience of it, and there's nothing better than fall flavors, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the pumpkin. I'm so excited for this video, and I wanted to show you all of my current favorite at-home recipes. I do love going to Starbucks and having the experience of going out too, of course, but that's not feasible. It gets really expensive, and it can get really sugary and really sweet and honestly just really fattening with some of those drinks. So I am kind of putting my own healthier twist and making them a little less bad for you, but equally delicious. So I'm gonna make 3 drinks today, and the first is the pumpkin spice latte. I'm going to make a hot pumpkin spice latte at home. It's so easy, and I'm gonna get the ingredients out now to show you what goes into that. Okay, so I have secured the goods, and as you can see here, I have my fresh Trader Joe's gallon of milk. You can use whatever dairy or dairy alternatives you want in any of these recipes. Obviously, if you're intolerant to certain dairy, definitely try it with oat milk, try it with almond milk. I alternate. I don't have any intolerances, just sometimes I prefer oat milk or almond milk. Sometimes I prefer regular milk, and I am on a regular milk kick. And to be quite honest, when you're making a latte, there's no better way to make it than with regular milk. It just makes it super creamy and delicious. So I'm going with regular milk today. And then I have my pumpkin syrup, and this is my favorite pumpkin syrup. I think in this season, this time of year, fall syrup in your home is so necessary to make such good, warm, cozy, or cold, cozy fall drinks. So anyways, and as I mentioned, I am going to be making these drinks a little bit healthier than what you would find at Starbucks. And so my favorite syrup that is just better for you is by Jordan's. It's called Jordan's like skinny syrups. It's 0 calories, 0 sugar. And this is their pumpkin spice flavor. And so I have this out all season. I love this syrup. I think it's so good. To be honest, it does smell a little bit funky when you first use it, but it tastes so good. So just an FYI, if you get it and then you're like, Courtney, what is this? Just try it, it's really good. And then I have my cinnamon and nutmeg, which are always a staple around this time of year in any drink, honestly. And then also I have my Nespresso pod. So obviously when you're making a latte, you need espresso. So I use Voltesso. It's been my favorite pod lately to make lattes with. So in case you care, that's what I'm using. I'm going to pop this in my Nespresso. I'll bring you along with me. So we have our espresso, and the next step is to froth your milk. So you can use an actual frother. The Nespresso frother is so good. I also have a handheld frother that is awesome, especially for travel or when you just don't feel like frothing it. Even though if you have this, I would opt for using that, but a handheld frother is just as good. So I know how much milk to put in. You can decide based on your preference if you like a lot of milk in your latte, not as much. You can kind of figure that out on your own. In the Nespresso frother, there's lines that I just use to gauge. So just pour in your milk and froth it up. All right, so now the secret to a great flavored latte is not to add the syrup once the milk is already in the latte. You want to add the syrup to the espresso, because then it's mixed into the base of your drink, and every sip that you have, you're getting a delicious combination of espresso, the flavor, and then that milk to kind of top it off, if that makes sense. So honestly, put as many pumps as you want. I typically do like 1.5 to 2 pumps. I don't like my drinks super sweet. You can absolutely do as many pumps as you'd like, and stir in. Oh my god, the smell is so good. I love this season. Mix it all together. You just have this delicious combination of coffee and pumpkin, and it's so good. And then from there, all you'll do is top it off with your milk. So just waiting for this to be done frothing. I might even add a little bit of cinnamon to my espresso mix here because cinnamon and pumpkin is just a marriage that is meant to be, you know? Oh, okay, she's done frothing. I like a lot of cinnamon. I've said this in other videos, but cinnamon cuts your blood sugar levels, so you should always incorporate cinnamon into your coffee anyway to help with like that rush and then crash. That's due to your blood sugar levels usually, and cinnamon helps to kind of even that out, and it tastes delicious, so why not? And then a little bit of nutmeg. So yeah, that's really all that there is to a pumpkin spice latte at home. You can buy different pumpkin flavoring. You can add vanilla. Some people like to add vanilla into their pumpkin spice latte. I actually do have a vanilla syrup that I'm gonna use in a later drink recipe, but I prefer just my pumpkin, my espresso, my milk with a little cinnamon, little nutmeg, and it's perfect to me, so cheers. Okay, so I pulled out some other ingredients. The next drink is a little bit more intricate, but it just makes it more fun. So you've probably heard of the iced caramel macchiato at Starbucks. Actually, I think it's called the iced apple crisp macchiato or something like that. It is really good, but it is really sweet. Like, they load that thing up with sugar. I think just by nature with the apple, any type of coffee that you get fruit flavored is usually pretty sweet, and it is really delicious, but it is just like a lot in my opinion. And so I have a fun, healthier way that you can make it at home and it's still so delicious. So bear with me here. There is like an extra step that makes it a little bit more time consuming to make this drink, but it's worth it. And it's so fun, especially this time of year, to create fun food and drinks at home. So the first step is to create this syrup for this drink. And so how I have chosen to create the syrup, I've tried different things. There are different ways you can do it, but I really like to mix 4 ingredients, and it is the same brand, so that Jordan Skinny Syrups, and it is vanilla. So sugar-free vanilla syrup with cinnamon and nutmeg. Any good fall recipe calls for these 2 seasonings. And then also apple juice. So I use the Trader Joe's 100% unfiltered apple juice. It's up to you, whatever kind you wanna use, but that is where you're going to get that apple flavoring. That doesn't have to come in the form of a syrup. You can use apple juice and mix it with a syrup, and it's still that consistency that you want and that great flavor. So I really just put in like 1 to 2 pumps of the syrup. This syrup is like a watery consistency. Again, it's sugar-free. It's not that thick syrup. It's gonna like stick in your stomach all day, so it's great for coffees when you're starting your morning off. And just a little bit of nutmeg and a little bit of cinnamon. I love these smells. This whole video is just gonna be me like sniffing the aromas. And then apple juice. So I literally just went to Trader Joe's, if you couldn't tell by the milk and the apple juice, both being fully, okay. And I use a pretty generous amount of apple juice there, kind of like 2 seconds of a pour. Me giving instructions. Just mix it up and it creates a syrup. Pretty easy. If you have the ingredients, it takes like 1 minute to just mix them all together. And it will be a little bit of a grainy consistency just because of the spices, but that's totally fine. When you mix it all together with the coffee, it won't be grainy. We have our syrup. And then next, so there's one more great ingredient other than coffee and milk in this recipe, and it is brown sugar. I know that in like the summertime, there was the brown sugar shaken oat milk espresso drink that everyone was loving, and I made that one at home too. I think I showed this in a video before, but the secret is to mix the brown sugar with the hot espresso when you make the latte, because it helps to really get rid of, again, that graininess from the brown sugar, because it usually clumps together. But when it melts in with the hot espresso, even when you pour it over ice for an iced drink, it just helps to make the consistency of the drink better. So that being said, take your brown sugar and add as much as you like. I just do like a little bit less than a tablespoon is like my vibe. And I add it in. And then I just go make my espresso. Also, I have been loving the Ice Leggero espresso pods, and it's great because they make these with the idea in mind that you're gonna be turning your hot coffee into iced coffee into an iced latte. So it's a smoother experience, and they're really good. So the Ice Leggero is a favorite for my iced lattes. Okay, and as you can see, the brown sugar is fully melted into the espresso, so it just gives it a really great texture and is smells so good. You could have guessed I was gonna say that. Got my ice, not doing it in a fancy way. Hands are just fine in the kitchen. I like to add a good amount of ice just because it helps to really cool down the espresso. All right, and then with every latte, you need milk or your dairy of choice or non-dairy of choice. And so the great thing about this Nespresso frother is you can froth cold. So when you hold down the button for 2 seconds instead of just 1, it does froth it cold. And so while that's frothing, I'm going to add in my vanilla apple syrup and just stir it up. Right, and we're frothed. And there we go. There she is. And so if you really want to make this into the ultimate treat for yourself, because you already used really good ingredients, you deserve it, I like to add caramel to this because it is a caramel crisp macchiato, right? I don't mess around with my caramel here. And so really it's just adding a little bit to the top. I mean, it's just so good. So that's it. That is this delicious drink. I'm actually giving this one to Jonathan right now. I'm not wasting any of this coffee. I'm still sipping on my first one that I showed you. So yeah, that's it for this recipe. Let me know in the comments if you try it out or if you have tried something similar. I would love to hear from you what you make at home and what you create in your kitchen. Okay, so the next and final recipe and coffee that I'm going to make for you is the pumpkin cold foam cold brew. And so I've definitely talked in other videos about how much I love making cold brew at home. I'm not going to go through the process with you here because I've talked about it before, but definitely make cold brew at home. It's so fun and it's so expensive out there when you go buy cold brew, so make it at home. It's just as good, if not better. And so I will say that when you get cold foam at Starbucks, and I think Dunk's does it now too, they use like a whipping cream and it is definitely thicker and worse for you than the way I make it. I believe that when you froth your milk, that consistency and that texture is good enough for me to consider it cold foam and consider it comparable to the flavor of the one you get at Starbucks and Dunk. So basically my cold brew cold foam is frothed milk with my flavors that I'm going to show to you, topped off with my cold brew, and it's so good. So I'm gonna stop babbling and just show you. Okay, so easy enough to begin: cold brew and ice. As I mentioned, all I do is add my milk. This is actually really good. I've done this with oat milk before because oat milk is sweeter than almond milk and honestly than regular milk, and it makes this recipe taste really good. So I add my milk to my frother. And so the next step before you froth it, to really give you that pumpkin flavor that's in the pumpkin cold foam, is you add your pumpkin sauce, right? And so I use the Jordan Skinny pumpkin sauce. And so I add 1 big pump of the pumpkin. And if you look at the recipe for the Starbucks cold foam, they have vanilla in there too. So I do add 1 pump of vanilla. Then I froth it up, and that way it froths it with the flavor, and it's so good. So again, hold it longer so that it froths cold because this is an iced drink. And when it is frothed, you top it off. And honestly, the secret with froth, when you want it to be more like a cold foam, you can literally scoop the foam off of the top of your frother because that's usually where it sits. It gives you that frothy experience. That's it for my recipes today. It is so good. Try it out and thank me later, and have fun while you do it. It's really exciting to curate your own recipes, and they give you all of that fall fun without all of the loaded ingredients and added sugar and whatever that Starbucks serves you. So hopefully this was fun and exciting. I was thinking about doing more recipes because I do have a few other fall type recipes that I make at home that I think I did put in another video a while ago that I still make. So if you want me to do more videos like this, I will, but I figured 3 would be easy and fun and digestible for you. So hope this was exciting. Hope you made it to this part of the video because this is definitely my favorite pumpkin flavored coffee this season. So thank you guys so much for watching. It was a pleasure to have you here, and I hope you subscribe. I hope you hang around with me. Let me know in the comments if this is your first video that you watched of mine. I love meeting new people, and I hope to see you all soon. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder.